And speaking of which, we both come from the same land of weirdness at the moment. How are you seeing things politically back in the old country, as I like to call it?
It's like a fucking comedy act. It's really ridiculous. It's like even the little speeches they give, it sounds like, the WWF wrestling matches. Like, it's just so fucking fake. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, so he talks about fake news and it's all fake.
Yeah, it's a lot of fear-mongering,
Yes.
It's fear-mongering. We should hate these people. We should be afraid of these people. It's just rallying people up, but it's like, it's disappointing to think that, people actually buy into it and say, oh, I'm going to vote for that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
It's like the land of bloody avarice, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like superficial everything. Yeah, that's,
You agree with that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the political climate here in Britain?
I don't pay too much attention because I don't live here anymore, funnily enough. But there again, where I am now, it's pretty much the same there, what's going on.
And where are you now?
I'm in Denmark based, yeah.
Yeah, they've also been going through their own set of issues.
Yeah, exactly, and the right's taking, prominent position every day, and I guess it's the world over,
It is. I think the whole world is kind of going. So you guys are even more relevant, at least in my opinion now, because you're speaking about what's happening in the world.
And I think that's a good thing with the band always, because we always have been relevant,
Yes, definitely.
regardless of how people pigeonhole us. I mean, that really never, it doesn't particularly mean anything to us,
Yeah.
whether you want to call us D-beat or this or hardcore, it doesn't make any difference. We just who we are,
Yeah. Again, that you mentioning D-beat, going back to, you basically formed an entire genre where people in South America have copied you so much with the name and everything. How do you feel that's relevant now? Or is it?
Yeah, I suppose it is, but but it's not something it's not something I give too much emphasis or thought about.
Yeah.
It's just
You just get up there and play and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing being a lyricist and thinking it, and it's great to what Jeff, but I'm a musician. I'm quite happy and content just being, the bass player.
Just picking on the strings and going with it. In fact, that's even reflected on stage, because I noticed that on stage you're very isolated almost within yourself. It looks like to me that you're just focusing so hard on the instrument. Yeah.
It's true.
Which is actually a nice thing to see, because it tells me how much you love your music and what you're playing, and just loving the fact that you're playing music. Is that how you feel? Or
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never been different. Yeah.
So I've got to ask, what is the one thing, if you could say, that you miss the most about America?
My mom and dad.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about leaving, is leaving the family.
But I just got to the point. I mean, when I was young, I've been in trouble in there, as you know, with the police over there. It's like you could do anything, and the next thing you're being thrown in jail. And it just got to the point, like, I couldn't go anywhere without being harassed by the police. And it's just the mentality of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I didn't like the mentality. I just didn't fit in with it, And So it was just, I left.
And you've been over here for, what, about a decade?
Yeah.
And, yeah, we're kindred spirits with that.
Hence the funny accent.
You and me both, although everybody says I sound very American. You sound slightly American.
Yeah.
But you've done well.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you found, guys, both of you? Oh, Tezz is kind of joining us with Bones. We have everybody just popping by and watching. But what was the one thing you found was the difference by being signed to Nuclear Blast? Because that's a metal label mostly. But they do so much more promotion and so much more help for you guys to get your name out there.
Can you pass me my bomber down there?
Excuse us while Tezz is asking for things.
Bomber.
That's
Oh,
Tezz's
that's it.
bomber.
It's hidden on
Yep, I'll hold that. Yeah, there we go. It's chilly outside.
Well, Nuclear Blast was, a label that I always really liked. Discharge, the owner of the label, was a big fan. And a lot of the bands on his label were influenced by Discharge, so it was just like, I think once we did that New World Order video, which we kind of did ourselves, a friend did it and put it out there, and it just kind of went viral, and good things were being said about it. Nuclear Blast caught wind of it and asked if we wanted to sign with them, so it was like, well, why not? You know what I mean? Try something different.
Yeah.
But, it's good. There's a whole thing in the punk rock scene with DIY and all that, you know what I mean? But it's like when you're trying to talk about certain issues and, kind of send a message, a DIY label is not going to get you very far. And it's like preaching to the converted, you know what I mean? So Nuclear Blast, even though they are an independent label, they're a bigger independent label, so it's kind of gets the word out there, you know what I mean?
And to a completely new audience in some cases with
that's
the
it.
metal fans as well.
Yeah, that's it. So might open their eyes to a new audience and change people's minds about things, or at least have them open their eyes.
What do you think about Nuclear Blast since you've been there since the beginning? I mean, that's a total change.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with what they're doing, but I've been signed to so many labels over the years that, and plus the whole industry has changed beyond recognition, so I can see all the benefits, regardless of being a metal label or not, but in this today, you need somebody behind you.
Yeah. So you've got the good support.
Yeah, exactly.
And where are you guys heading next? You've got one album out on Nuclear Blast from a year ago.
Yeah.
Are you looking at recording another soon, or?
Yeah, we shall do. Probably,
We've been talking about doing like an EP. I think it's a bit too soon to do another full length.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be like an EP or a single or something like that. You know what I mean? We don't want to, have too much overkill.
Yeah.
Another Discharge album. You know what I mean? Maybe put out like an EP, 4 songs or something like that, and just kind of keep it going. You know what I mean? And eventually get to another album.
And aside from music, do you guys have any other serious interests? I know Jeff has an interest in antiques, of all things, which is such an anti-punk thing.
Yeah, I've always been like an old soul, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've never really much, connected with modern society. I'd be happy, like, just living in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not very social. I don't surround myself with like loads of people and friends and an entourage, and friends are few and far, I think, and so I kind of keep myself to myself. Really, I like what I like. I do what I do, and but I've always just been interested in weird things.
Weird things are not bad.
I don't think they're weird, but other people do, you know. But it's since I've been into, you know, ever since I was a young age, you know, I've always been into strange things, whether it was like just, you know, fucking horror movies when I was a kid and shit like that. I've just always liked anything that was weird. You know what I mean? Things that kind of make you think.
There is nothing wrong with weird. Weird is a good thing, Jeff.
Yeah, it's just, well, weird's a perception.
Yeah. But out of the mainstream, out of the norm, things that other people find weird.
Yeah.
And you find pleasure and joy and beauty in those things.
I do, yeah, yeah. It's, you know, especially, you know, I love like antiques and stuff like that, just like anything old. And, you know, it's that stuff's got to be like kind of remembered. You know what I mean? It's like that old saying, you know, those who don't remember the past are condemned to repeat it, type of thing. So.
What about you?
Well, funnily enough, me and Jeff share quite the same interests, as it turns out. I mean, I've always collected antiques, and if you want to go down that, you know, forever. You know, and I even dabbled in them, selling stuff, you know.
He's got a hell of a collection, you know. You got a lot of World War II memorabilia and stuff. He's a lot of military memorabilia, and we have that in common. You know, we love history, you know what I mean?
Architecture and photography, you know, and all that.
See, you're so much more than just loud, aggressive music.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, in my eyes at least, that it gives you depth, and probably part of why the music has some depth as well, because you're not looking at it as a single layer. You've got different interests in life, and that brings it all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I first loved music is the blues, you know.
Oh.
You know.
I grew up listening to the blues, my father, and I think that's kind of common with people who love this music. We started listening to that.
You know. And not just that, you know, all genres. I love, as it's termed now, world music. But when I first started travelling around the world, it was something I'd seek out, and, you know.
Yeah. It was just the music of where you were.
Exactly, you know. And it didn't even matter if I couldn't understand, you know, vocally. It didn't make any difference. The voice is an instrument, you know, so.
Exactly. And I don't like that term world music either. That's, because it's just beautiful music from wherever you are.
Yeah. It's true.
I listen to every kind of music. The only kind of music I don't listen to is like pop.
Yeah.
I don't like prefabricated shit. You know what I mean? I just like music that's real. You know.
Yeah, that real people are.
Depth to it, and you know, it's got like thought into it, not just written to make money. Yeah. You know.
Written for the love of it, like you guys are doing.
Yeah. You know, the actual creative aspect of it. So, yeah.
Is there anything you'd like the world to know about Discharge or yourselves, or anything, topics, anything like that?
No, I don't know. It's, you know, we're just doing our thing, you know.
Yeah. Jeff?
We do. What people would like to know about us, you know. We're just, you know, we're just people, you know what I mean? We're just human beings like everybody else. You know, I don't really think any person's above any other person, you know. You can learn something from anybody, you know what I mean? You could learn a lot of things just from like a homeless guy sitting on the fucking street with his dog. You know. His knowledge is.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're just all trying to make the best of a screwed up world, you know?
Yeah.
And best way we can.
Yeah.
It's all about learning, you know. Knowledge is power, and, you know. I think the more you know, the better off you'll be.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it could backfire, and I think sometimes you can know too much. And it kind of drive you nuts a bit, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, sometimes you wish you didn't know certain things because it just makes you angry, you know what I mean? And it's like same with like, you know, the whole political issue and looking into all that stuff, because it does make you angry, you know. So I've always had a love-hate affair with politics.
Yeah.
Like I go through phases where I'm paying attention to it, you know, and I found myself getting really fucking wound up, and it's like I just need to back off from it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do. Brexit has done that to me.
Yeah, it's like, you know, what can you do? You know, other than like take up arms and fucking start like some, you know, full-on revolution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
It's never going to happen in these days anywhere, pretty much.
I just don't think a lot of people have the backbone for it anyway. You know what I mean? So, kind of left on your own.
And do you think, considering the current political climate, which has always been a beautiful hotbed for punk and other alternative music, do you think that's going to make it revive again?
I don't think it's going to change the world, but I think it could change people's opinions, and I think it could open people's minds and wise up a bit. You know, it's people can learn from it and not fall into the trap. You know.
Yeah, it's the same here, but I think, you know, like now, the time we're living in, that I've got my own opinions. I think the world's become very insular, you know, with the internet and all this stuff, where years ago you wanted to make something known, you went out and, you know, on the streets, or
Exactly.
you know, or in the middle of the night you went and stuck posters, you know, whatever, you know, it's different. It's like a microcosm of the world is now. It's
And everything is online, and there's not that personal communication like the three of us sitting here.
It's a great thing, but it's equally a terrible thing. You know, it's like I say, it's we can only do what we do, and the best make the best of what we've got. You know.
Absolutely. And on that note, I would like to thank you both very much for taking the time for speaking with me, and
Welcome.
can't wait to see you guys on stage in a few hours.
I'm still standing.
You'll be standing, I'm sure. If not, well, we'll prop you up. Thanks.
It's happened before.
It's never really a problem finding that second wind, you know.
Yeah. You start to step on the stage, and there you go.
If that static comes through the cable, then you're well away, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta take it back from that point. You know.
So, anyway, lovely. Thank you for the, you know.
Thank you. And thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Likewise.